Today I have the Minolta Maxxum 7, okay, as you can see here. This was the one of the last film cameras that Minolta created before being absorbed or merging with Konica, which was a good idea in my opinion, as it resulted in some extremely good digital cameras. However, it ultimately resulted in the demise of the Minolta brand and the Konica brand as well. But that's business, as they say. This particular camera I have equipped with the 50mm 1.7 lens. It is autofocus. It has an internal motor, which was one of the things that Minolta was criticized for with their autofocus line. It does have a pop-up flash, which is I think a guide number 50. It's not a very good flash. It doesn't even provide very much fill, and so I never used it very much. This is a full spec film camera. You can see over here you have single shot, automatic, continuous, and manual focus. These are your focus modes over here. This is a grip sensor, and you can see that it is also duplicated on the extended grip, the battery grip here. This is for the autofocus and all of the functions to start when you grip the camera to raise it to your eye or whatever. This camera also features the eye start, as you can see here, which can be switched on or off. As a film camera, this is your rewind button here, and this is our lock and on button. It's our automatic exposure lock with our exposure zones here, autofocus with click wheel, the lock, and then the center weighted. Okay, we have autofocus and manual focus trigger here. Here we have our drive modes. So single drive, we have multi-drive, we have our timer, and we have our double exposure. We have our continuous bracketing and our single brackets. This is a diopter for adjusting the focus of the viewfinder. Here we have our flash compensation dial. Up here we have our exposure compensation dial. Over here we have our modes. We have our program mode, our green P program mode, which is, everything done for you, our aperture priority, shutter priority, fully manual mode, and then 3 custom modes. Here you can see I have 8 shots left on this roll of film. Yes, it does have film in it. Trigger button, shutter trigger, front control dial for controlling your either your aperture or your shutter speed, and the rear control dial for the same thing. It's customizable. Over here we have our flash sync. As you can see, we have visual, we have flash, we have rear curtain flash, and we have wireless flash. All of our functions are duplicated. Well, most of our functions are duplicated on the battery grip for vertical shooting. We have our on or off button. We have our automatic exposure lock, AF, MF trigger. We have our front and rear control dials. We have our shutter button, and we have power from the VC7 or from the camera. This particular battery grip uses either CR123s or uses 2 of those, or uses 4 AA's. Over here we have, this opens the back. This is our sync port. It has a nice little cover. I think these are usually missing from examples you might purchase used. And we have our remote connection here, so you can trigger remotely. I'm featuring this camera because this is our infrared autofocus sensor here, and of course our release for the lens here. Featuring this camera because it is extremely important to me. This was the first you might say, important or valuable professional style camera that I purchased, and I used it quite a bit. I'm not sure how many rolls of film I shot through it, but it was a great many. Produces great color. Of course, that depends on the lens that you put on it, but by and large, this camera stood up to many years of use without giving me any complaints or any problems. The only thing about it right now is that the back is just a little bit sticky. This rubberized coating has become a little bit sticky. I cleaned it as best I could with ammonia, but of course I'm afraid of getting ammonia on the internals. Of course, this is not something you can just send in and have it repaired or replaced. So it's one of those things that is very definitely one of my everyday treasures. I don't know if anybody else uses one of these anymore, and I certainly haven't shot film in quite a long time. I have several film cameras, but I always felt that Minolta produced exceptional quality for the value. Their prices were not completely exorbitant or out of line, and I liked the look and the feel. I believe this has a magnesium body with a plastic top and bottom. I believe these are plastic, or it could be the other way around. This is plastic and these are magnesium. I'm not sure, but this is definitely something that I treasure and that I value, even if I don't use it all that much anymore. There's no place locally for me to get film developed, so I would have to send it away, and I tried to do that one time and wound up with somebody else's photographs. They got theirs back, I didn't get mine. So it's just one of those things that you just have to have faith on, I suppose, and I don't have very much faith about that. I suppose I could develop my own film. However, that's a process that I'm not too sure I'm interested in figuring out the learning curve on at this point. But there it is, the Minolta Maxxum 7. They did produce a Maxxum 850, and they produced a Maxxum 900. The 850 had a few extra features, a little bit better flash up here. Like I said, it wasn't very good. And the 900, I believe, is much more substantial, weather-sealed, professional style camera. But this one did very well for me. Like I said, I took lots of pictures. I don't know that I sold all that many, but I certainly did enjoy using it. One final thing is that it has the typical Minolta locking hot shoe, which is, I think, an excellent feature, because you don't have to worry about whether or not you're tightened down your flash or your accessory into the hot shoe. However, once Sony purchased this, it went back to the standard hot shoe, and I suppose there was lots of intelligent reasons for that, considering that the majority of the photography, videography world at this point uses those kinds of shoes for lights and for all sorts of other accessories now. However, it's just a little disappointing that they didn't maintain that feature, which made them separate and different from everybody else. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of the Minolta Maxxum 7, and we'll be back soon for another episode of Everyday Treasures. Thanks for watching.